Welcome to this Monday morning talk. I tried doing it the other way, flipping the phone, but I was told by Facebook to flip it up again. So I have to say some of this technical stuff is still I'm not on top of it yet. But it's all an experience, and I'm a Rowena. I'm a musician and a performer, but I'm also a healer and an intuitive reader. And I'm doing this series that I call now Let's Talk. It was inspired by an early series that was sort of a spur of the moment decision that I called a 10-day challenge to shift your mindset, which I really enjoyed. And I had some beautiful feedback. So I decided to continue doing this. Now, as I said, I'm still not quite on top of the technical stuff, so which frame works where and stuff. But all these videos will be out on my profile, both my professional and private, for at least 30 days. I do Monday mornings where I talk about a topic, Wednesdays where I go into depth of how we can break through and heal these topics maybe, or embrace whatever it is, when it's inner peace, that would be the breaking through to embracing the topic. Grief last week, how do we start to heal our grief? That was last week's Wednesday topic. And then Fridays, I invite you to an in-depth meditation centered around this topic, where we start to heal ourselves in the meditation. We start to embrace ourselves and our process and our journey in dealing with these issues. And these meditations are not very specific. They're quite universal in a way. They're intuitive. They're improvised, I suppose. I sort of tap into the moment and to the energy of whoever's there. And so you can listen to them at any time, but they will be out there always. I leave them out there, and I also publish everything on YouTube. And that's where the technical frame comes in, because I wanted to flip it so that it fits better in the YouTube format, but that didn't quite work. So YouTubers, you're going to have to just bear with me, and for now, until I find a way to make it work both places. So yes, as I put, I think in the description of this arrangement, I was guided, as I say, to talk about healing. When I talk about being guided, it's what comes to me when I tap into my intuition, to my, you might say, higher self. But also, I have a deep belief system of including higher, what shall I say, guides, beings, a higher power that you can tap into, that we're connected to, we're from. People call it God, or it, this creator. I call it the creator, or the essence, or the I suppose the creator is the one, the word I use the most. And some people call it Allah, whatever it is that works for you. This is, and some people don't even believe in this. It's fine. We do believe that we have a subconscious, or an intuition, or a soul. Most people do now actually accept these things. But you don't even have to do that. What I talk about here is mainly how we can navigate in the best possible way as human beings in this funny thing called life, on this strange place called the earth, with all this crazy stuff going on, and try to find ways to heal ourselves, to improve our lives, to rise from whatever it is that's bringing us or holding us down, and to contribute to creating a better world. And simply because I believe that every person who manages to break through some of the stuff that holds them down, or us down individually, and when we start breaking through belief patterns that don't work for us, maybe they oppress us, keep us down, maybe they stop us from pursuing our dream, our visions, or our potential, or even our self-love. Every individual that manages to break through these things and start to heal and start to realize the beauty of who they are, every single individual has their own beauty. And I so believe this. I so see it and so feel it every time I work with a client, every time I open up to my own faith in this, in myself, I can see it in other people. So every time somebody starts to make this change, we get a better place. This is what I believe. What you do in your life matters because it affects people around us. And when it affects people around us, they start affecting people around them, and you have these ripples out into the world. And my dream would be that enough people can embrace this opportunity to rise, to see their own power and beauty, and so that we can eventually have not a crazy world with all this pain going on, but a world that manages to embrace the beauty of diversity, of all the emotions, of each other, of nature, of peace, living in coexistence, of respect, mutual respect. And yes, why am I talking about this when the topic this week is to heal? And I've chosen, not easily because it's a sensitive topic, but I've chosen healing the victim. And why I find it sensitive is because it's a word that we use a lot in our times, being a victim. And yes, I do acknowledge that people find themselves in situations where they are victims to oppression or to pain or to there are illnesses. You can feel yourself a victim to an illness that suddenly hits you, or to situations, events, and oppression. And there's all kinds of stuff that we do to each other, of course, that would, when you look at the situation, the best way to describe it would be that somebody is a victim of whatever is going on. But what I find is that it's a word, it's a term that I find a little troublesome, because it also places you in a position where there's always somebody doing something to you, or some event, or so life is happening to you. And I used to be in this position as well, obviously. I mean, we all do it, and we all are victims of life, victims of events, of other people doing things to you, whether they intentionally or not. I mean, a traffic accident doesn't necessarily have to be intentionally something happening against you, but you can be a victim of that accident. And of course, I read, the reason also I find this a little sensitive, as I read this post by somebody who was very angry with everybody talking about how you heal your victim and don't get stuck in victimhood, and you have to rise from it. And they said, that's putting blame on the victim. And she was very angry. And I understand. I see the perspective she's coming from. What I find is that that's the whole point, in a way. When you start blaming, that's when you sort of become the victim. Again, I'm not going into the painful situations that some people find themselves in. And if you're in a situation of being treated with abuse or somehow oppressed by other people who use their own pain to gain their power over you, I sincerely hope that you'll find some help, because that is a state of victim that's very, very difficult to get out of on your own. And seriously, please do get some help, because you're worth so much more, whoever you are, if you are in that situation or a similar situation. Now, what I'm talking about now, what I would like to share with you, is thoughts about how we can sometimes get stuck in the thought and idea of being a victim. And we get stuck in it often because we've been in a situation and then that has disempowered us, because being a victim is a disempowerment. you lose control, you give over the power to somebody else. I'm not saying, again, it's not a blame of you doing it. I'm just saying that's what happens naturally when somebody takes the power over you. It's very, very hard to withstand it unless you're a very, very strong, aware person like the Dalai Lama. I actually read a book by him, and he was talking about, and it's a Buddhist principle that I don't know well enough, but I'll share what I perceived from what he was saying. And he talked about, because the question was, how can you sit in a meeting with the Chinese government? How can you have a dialogue with them after what they did to your people in Tibet? And he said, well, you have to sort of go in and you have to absorb their pain because they're in pain. And it's this thing about sort of taking this pain onto yourself so that you can relate to where they are, and so that you can talk to them from a different perspective, with an awareness of their pain. This is what I understand from what he said. But it is, in a way, a beautiful idea and thought. It's very difficult for people to do unless you have that level of awareness that he does. And sort of, I wouldn't expect that people in general would be able to do so if you are in a situation where you find yourself held down. How can you be the one? How can you find yourself? How strong do you have to be in order to be able to say, oh, this person is in pain, I should understand? For one thing, you don't always want to understand because you don't always want to accept an act against you that is painful to you. But this, my point is that you have to sort of be very evolved in order to be able to do that in a situation of being oppressed against, or what should I say? Treated with violence or with oppression. But when I talk about healing from your victim, healing the victim in you, it would be the victim that you find yourself being the victim, the idea that you're a victim, this thought that you get stuck in. We get stuck in. I was a victim of my bad relationship. I was a victim of the divorce. I was a victim of my father's alcoholism. I was a victim of bullying for the longest time. And I kept living that and thinking that was the reason. And I had to live that reason. I had to accept that all my patterns were because of this. This was a pattern in my mind that I didn't recognize. I didn't see it because it was such an ingrained pattern in my way of thinking, way of living, and blaming the other person. And of course, it was interesting. I'm not going to talk badly about somebody, but I had a relationship where this person blamed me for blaming him for things. So, it's sort of a catch thing. And only now can I see it and laugh at it. But it caused a lot of conflict, of course, this blame. But not only does it do that, you lose sight of who you are. You lose sight of your own beauty. You lose sight of your own immense power to create and live your own life. And you lose sight of the opportunity you have to heal and rise. So the first thing that we maybe need to do is try and investigate, where am I a victim of my life? Am I a victim of my childhood, my parents, my peers as a young girl or boy? Am I a victim of a circumstance? A disease maybe has hit me. Now that's tricky because you're stuck with a disease in a way. But there are so many people who have managed to decide not to be a victim of this disease. And so they start to find ways and search ways to work through it and to start healing. And they won't give up until they either find a place of peace, of being where they are in that state of illness, or they find a way of healing. I'm not here to say that everybody will manage to, heal every situation in their life. because we carry them in us, and we have these patterns that we work with all our life, and you won't always be able to find them. What I do want to share, however, is that you have the power to shift your focus and to find and discover this beauty in you that you carry with you, that is uniquely yours, irrespective of everything that's happened to you, or every person that's done something to you, or every event that you've been a victim of. You have something bigger in you. You have something much more powerful in you than any of this. You have you. And maybe the most tricky victimhood that we have is victim of our own thoughts, of ourselves, when we attack ourselves. And I mentioned my divorce. I was a victim of divorce in that relationship, but I also very much a victim of my own self-loathing after that, because I was attacking myself with all these thoughts of being unlovable, not having any value, of all the things I'd done wrong, that my behavior was wrong. So I was sort of again giving my power over to this idea that there was something wrong with me. And the most beautiful story I've heard, I think, one of the most beautiful stories I've heard of somebody not accepting her story of being a victim was a Holocaust survivor. She was in Auschwitz, I think. And I don't remember her name, but I remember her story. It's on YouTube. She managed to survive by dancing for the officers. And when she got out, she decided that she was not going to let... I mean, she was a victim. Seriously, these people were victims. But she decided she was not going to let them rule the rest of her life. She was not going to be a victim of them for the rest of her life. That would give over her power to them. She would give away her own power to be herself. And so, and I know there are a few of these people who have survived things like that, who have managed to go to that same place of, I will not give my power over to that person or these people or that situation. I will rise in myself, honor myself and my own power to live for the rest of my life. And it's so beautiful to hear these stories. It's so inspiring. And I urge you to go and look them up if you find you need some inspiration to rise from something. Yes, victim of childhood and parents. These things get stuck in us, but we can break through them. We can shake them off simply. I mean, if you find a pattern, I'm going to talk more about on Wednesday the things that you can do to start to release this pattern and start to rise. And of course, I mean, sometimes we have to go really in depth with this topic because it can get really stuck, such as a victim or a feeling of being a victim of your childhood or your parents or whatever. Sometimes you have to sort of get help and really dig in. Sometimes you can just shake it off. So when you recognize a pattern of blaming somebody, because that's often a sign of being a victim. If you blame the weather, you're a victim of the weather. Well, you can shake that off, and you can try and look and see, wow, I really actually, if I'm going to go out and meet the weather, I'm going to enjoy the wind. That's a very simple way of experiencing that shift. Try it. But you have the deeper feelings, and repeating to yourself that you're a victim. To me, I find that sort of solidifies the experience. So I would urge you to try, if you want to heal, if you want to move on, if you want to rise to this beauty that you are, this fantastic person that you are, unique, nobody like you anywhere. We need your color, we need your sound, and in order for that to come out, you might want to shake a few of these things that hold you down. And so if you want to do this, try and discover where are my thoughts confirming me as a victim. Where am I stuck in an old story as a victim? and maybe it was a true victim situation, but where are you still stuck in it? And if you can't shake it off yourself, find some help so that you can start to move and come closer to yourself. And again, I keep coming back to this, coming closer to yourself, discovering what's in you, discovering your colors, your light, your beauty, your thoughts, your essence, your uniqueness. It helps you to find your ground quickly once you've been hit off your foundation. It helps you to rise. It helps you to find your space uniquely for you, and heal and shake off these stories and these experiences that you've had in your life. Or if you're in the middle of it now, even starting to come closer to yourself will give you, I find, the power, the strength to start to choose a way, to find a way out of it, to find that person that can help you to pull you out of that situation, or to find that even a video or that meditation maybe that can help you to lift your perspective so that you can see what's really going on and choose differently. And if you can't choose differently, there's always a possibility to get help. So I just want you to reflect a little bit, or I invite you to. I mean, this is all up to you. It's all up to us. But if we want to make a better world, we have to start with ourselves. Again, I'm sorry. We're not going to be saved by everybody else. Everybody has sort of themselves to think about a lot. So the best way is actually to save yourself, I find. It has helped immensely in my life. So what I'll do now again, I'll bring this little focus back to your center, to yourself, so that you can practice coming home to yourself. And I won't do the 3 breath one. I've done that a lot. You can see that in other videos. I always do this at the end of the videos. I'll just do 1 breath now and then bring you into your heart right away, into this center here. So you can close your eyes if you want to, but you don't have to. Just take 1 deep breath and imagine that you're just breathing in beautiful fresh air for yourself, and you're also breathing in the experience of being you. Just imagine it, go with it. Breathe in into your whole body this fresh air, and as you breathe out, just sink down into your hips. Imagine that you're sitting or standing on your foundation, your unique foundation, whatever that may be for you. And if you don't understand it, don't worry about it, it's there. And you can always strengthen it by these exercises. But once you've done this 1 breath, you can do another breath if you like. You can do as many breaths as you like. Breathe in yourself and sink down into your hips, your foundation. And then bring your attention to the center of your heart. And actually, I'm being asked to also bring your attention to your tummy. And when you do so, just see what it feels like. What is your tummy? Just investigate it. Seriously, ask yourself, what does it feel like to be in your tummy? What does your tummy feel like? What is your experience of your tummy in this moment? And then what's your experience of your heart center in this moment? Can you feel something? Maybe there is an emotion. It doesn't have to be an emotion. It's more like just observing your own color or your own sensation of being you. That's it. Just exploring, who am I in here? Who's in here? What does it feel like? What's my unique feeling of being me? And I invite you to investigate that when you move around today. When you go for a walk or whatever, you're driving the car, go around, who am I? What do I feel like? And if you manage to sort of bring that focus to that, your pattern of feeling of being a victim or whatever, they will be a little bit in the background for a while. But so noticing the difference between when you blame everybody else and you have all your attention out there, or you blame yourself even, and then the other experience is, who am I? What's it like to come home to me? That was my little invitation for you today. So I wish you a beautiful day. On Wednesday, I will do a little bit more of an exercise or a meditation, if you like, of of being present in yourself and finding your roots so that you can rise from that, and also of how you can start to heal, to heal these thoughts of being oppressed, or being held down, or being a victim of some situation or a person. I might even do an exercise with trying to sort of cut these cords between people that we feel have power over us. Yes, that's what came up today. So I welcome you to Wednesday, and then the meditation, the deep meditation on Friday. If you want to work more, if you want to go in depth, give me a call and we'll see if we can work together. But follow yourself, come home to yourself first, see where you want to go, and have a beautiful day. Take care. Many blessings. Bye.